Hey, what's up, everybody? Hopefully, you guys all see this. I am attempting to use OBS again. I think this is only the second time that I've tried to use this, so bear with me if things aren't exactly flowing the way that they normally would. I'm still kind of new at this and stuff like that, so I do hear the noise, but there's a little bit of delay, so that's pretty cool. What's up, everybody? How you guys doing? I wanted to do this live yesterday, but it was a funny thing, right? Like, I'm sitting there because you can preview your stream in OBS, and I couldn't hear what I was saying, even though the mic was hooked up and it was reading it and everything. So I was like, dang, this sucks. I really wanted to do the Monday show like I normally do, and the problem was, later on I found out that I had paused updates for Windows 10, and so they had disabled my ability to hear. So actually I was getting out there, like you could hear my voice, people could hear my voice and stuff like that, but the main problem was that I couldn't hear it, so I didn't know that. So then I had to update my computer and all this kind of stuff. So it was a bit of a hassle and stuff like that. As you all join in, please like the video and share it out. I would definitely appreciate it. I love when we get these leaks and stuff like that when it comes to next generation. We're going to get more and more of this stuff as time goes along. I'm very excited by this stuff, and I think you guys are too. And I think that's what kind of drives me as well, is just the excitement factor of what's going on. As fans, we kind of rely on this kind of stuff just to sort of let us know what's going on, and I like that. I like that Sony and Microsoft are kind of allow this stuff to leak out a bit here and there, and it's bound to leak out. Just if you didn't know, like, what happens is dev kits and roadmaps leak. They end up being sent out to developers. Now they get sent to developers who maybe sign NDAs, but still, it's better than signing NDAs. They sign the NDAs, but still share out some of the information and things like that, and I think that's pretty cool. Now, this particular PlayStation 5 bit of news is very interesting. I always like to point out, though, that, take these sort of things with a grain of salt, because we never know until the companies actually come out and announce them. And I know people will go, well, CG, you're just saying this, blah, blah, blah. No, like, listen, this was the rumor, and I'm saying it's a rumor, so don't go at me going, I'm saying it's a sure thing or that it's going to 100% be better than the Xbox Scarlett. I'm saying, from the rumors that we've heard, it sounds like this could potentially be, bigger or more powerful than Xbox Scarlett, which is definitely could be the case. It could be very, very interesting. Capital Foundry could be back at any time. The reason why it stopped, you can't really do Capital Foundry if there's no games on the Xbox side to do anything with, and so far there really hasn't been a ton of stuff to really showcase with that. But anything can change, and things do change, and obviously Microsoft won't always not have any games. Like, I'm not ever going to say that. Like, they will have games. It was funny because I saw someone passing around this list of potential exclusives on Xbox going forward, or franchises going forward, and the list actually was horrible. It was probably one of the worst lists of exclusives. Like, that doesn't get me excited about the future of Xbox. And if that is what Microsoft has in store for the future of Xbox, ooh, man, that's not going to be pretty. Honestly, it's like anytime you're putting stuff like Bard's Tale and Flight Simulator and Age of Empires, which is a PC game, it's not a good thing. It's like, more Ori. How much Ori do we need after the second one? Sea of Thieves was in this list. It's like, that game's already almost 2 years old. Why is that in there? Like, I understand Rare's working on another multiplayer-only game, so maybe just put Rare's new IP. Like, Sea of Thieves is already kind of a been there, done there kind of thing. State of Decay 3, I understand, will be something that comes out as well, too. So hit that like button. I would appreciate it. Hold on. Jesse says, weren't you the one that always said take it with a grain of salt? Why I'm going to tell you how I feel like you used an Xbox community like a ragdoll. Listen, I am the one that's been kind of kicked around by Microsoft. I've been sitting there pimping their stuff for years, believing Phil Spencer's nonsense, right? Phil Spencer says so many things all the time, and pretty much always lets everybody down, right? Including myself. You see people saying this all the time, whether it be on social media or their videos. Again, I'm not attacking anyone in person, anyone personally or anything like that. This isn't like anyone that you're not, oh man, he's making fun of this. But no, I'm not making fun of anybody. This has nothing to do with that. But I'm just saying, in general, you see people say things like, well, we know that Xbox games aren't going third party because so-and-so said something 2 years ago or a year and a half ago that that's not the case. Well, you know what? 2 years ago, Phil said it was going to be the best Xbox E3 ever. Last year, he said it was going to be the best E3 ever. 3 years ago, he said that. 4 years ago, he said he was going to make up Street Fighter V being exclusive to the PlayStation. 4.5 years ago, he said he didn't believe in buying content to keep it off of other platforms, and then proceeded to buy Dead Rising 4 and keep it off of PlayStation for a year, and also bought Rise of the Tomb Raider and kept it off PlayStation for a year. So I can produce tons of times where Phil Spencer or other people at Team Xbox have said one thing and then did the complete opposite. So it's not like, what are we supposed to believe? The things that we want to? Do we pick and choose what we believe? Or do we just sit there and go, hey, the fact of the matter is, Phil Spencer has really misled a lot of people a lot of times. Holomoko, listen, I'll say this. The days of me sitting back and taking crap from people are long over with, right? I'm not going to start drama, especially on my channel. I'm not going to like make videos and expose people or anything like that. But if you come after me, you're in for it. Like that's just all it's going to be. And not like in a physical way or anything. Just I'm going to fight back and I'm not going to take it. So that particular individual, you know, lives in a fantasy world, and I took it to him, and, you know, it is what it is. It's just one of those things. Like, right now, I feel like with the amount of research I do, when I'm looking at my PC right now, right, I see all these links. I literally have hundreds and hundreds of links of articles and different things, and I save these things. Some of them are older, some of them are newer, but the important thing is these are all quotes and things that I've used and stories that I've used over the years, and you can just tell when you go back. I was sitting here one day just looking at these things, and I'm like, wow, Phil Spencer really said this. He really dropped the ball there. He didn't do that. He didn't do this. Well, he's in it to win it, and then he doesn't care about winning it, and now he wants to win it again. He doesn't care about Xbox sales. Now he does. Now he doesn't. Like, at what point do you start recognizing these kind of things and you start going, oh, well, it's a little bit weird? So when I first started this kind of doing these type of videos and stuff, I was a big Phil fan. You know, I bought into everything he was selling, hook, line, and sinker. But the main thing is, if you look back at that E3 2013, I'm going to name off the games that they showed off, okay? So they showed off Quantum Break, Dead Rising 3, Rise Son of Rome, Killer Instinct, Titanfall, Sunset Overdrive. They teased the next Halo, right? So you had multiple new AAA IP, returning IP that was good. Forza Motorsport 5 was also in there. They had amazing games to show off. But the sad part is, when you think about it, those games that I named are mostly the games that people name when they try to think of great Xbox exclusives this generation. All the ones they name are games they announced at 2013's E3. That's a sad fact, okay? The other sad fact is there hasn't been a new AAA exclusive announcement since 2015 Sea of Thieves, which meant that game started production in 2014, which meant that they literally stopped producing new AAA IP in 2014, less than a year after the Xbox One came out. Furthermore, we all assumed and have been saying that Phil Spencer had his hands tied and he had no budget and Terry Myerson was to blame. And now we look and we see this GameSpot article called Phil Spencer Is Who You Think He Is. And he says Satya Nadella called Phil Spencer in 2014 when Phil had taken over the role of head of Xbox. And he says, why are we in the gaming industry? Why are we here? So Phil Spencer called him back in 2014, mind you, and said, if we're going to stay in the gaming space, then let's make sure we're all in. The last thing I wanted to do was run the gaming organization here as kind of an afterthought of the company and kind of half in, half out. Let's go fix who we are. So apparently Satya Nadella was 100% backing Xbox right from the start of 2014 when he took over Microsoft and right when Phil Spencer took over head of Xbox. So all these people, they go, well, he didn't have any budget. He didn't have any money. No. He had the backing of a $1 trillion company since 2014, and we have what kind of games to show for it as Xbox fans? That's what I'm saying. What type of games have we had to show for a $1 trillion company, right? We don't have anything to show for it. We have absolutely nothing to show for it. And that is really piss poor in my opinion. We got more State of Decay. Like, this man is talking about fixing Xbox in 2014, and he shipped Crackdown 3 in 2019? Right? Like, how do you fix your brand and then still ship that? Or still ship State of Decay 2 or Sea of Thieves that lacked content. I like the game. I get it. You can't sit there and call me a hypocrite because I like the game. But the funny thing is, I like it that it's such an ungame, right? You can sit back and drink with your friends and just goof around. That's why I like it. It's not like oh my gosh, this is such a brilliant game. It's really just such an ungame that it's one of those things that's kind of just cool to go back and chill with, right? That's what I'm talking about with that. But it's definitely not like a game that's something, you know, where everybody is going to enjoy it. I totally understand why people don't like the game. 100% I do. 100% I get it. So we've dispelled that rumor, right, that Xbox had no budget or no money. So we're all just sitting here wondering exactly why does Xbox fail to announce anything, right? So we look at it and we see that Microsoft is very much a company that is transparent with their consoles, right? Oh, we can announce 3 consoles in a span of 3 years, but we can't announce a single new IP in almost 5 years. That's the stuff that really kind of ticks people off, and I think it's a little bit unfortunate. Changing up the game. Oh, hold on. AK Massifier says, "Yo, crap, keep giving them Spencerites the truth. These dudes go insane when they hear it." Yeah, you know what? They shouldn't even go insane, to be honest with you. And as you all come in, please like and share the video out. I would appreciate it. People shouldn't go insane over this, right? Honestly, it's just, this is one of the things that, you know, Microsoft can fix things, but they're not going to fix things while believing that nobody wants exclusive games, right? If you're listening to people go, oh, well, exclusive games are anti-consumer. No. If you want the industry to thrive, if you want gamers to have competition, if you want there to be that competition, look when there's no competition. We get the same Madden every year. Even though there's kind of competition with 2K, like with NBA Live, it's not really competition. You need that stiff competition. If you're like a wrestling fan and you like WWE like me, it can start to get a little bit stale. What happens? They bring in AEW, right? So you've got competition. It causes WWE to step their game up. That's what you need. If Microsoft is just friendly with everybody and putting their games on everything, there is literally no competition. Sony can charge what they want and do what they want, and that's not good. You don't want it. Even if you're a Sony fan, I'm sure you don't want Sony just to be able to do whatever they want and get away with it, because that's not going to be good for you as a consumer in the long run either. Now, when it comes down to Microsoft, I feel like a lot of people just will run with these stories. And I used to do this. All right, whenever Phil Spencer says something, oh, Phil Spencer's favorite band's Led Zeppelin, Megaton, right? I get it. A lot of people are going to damage control it. No offense to them. That's fine. That's their thing. I'm not going to knock anybody's hustle. But when I see stuff on social media like, well, look, Microsoft could really get the income and revenue from these games and then use that revenue to, you know, put it on other platforms. And what I'm talking about is obviously Matt Booty had said, you know, Matt Booty, if you guys didn't know, what's up, Ice Queen? Let's see. Trum Don says, Crapgamer, you heard the Xbox One X VR when Phil promised high fidelity. Exactly. Isaiah says 14 teraflops, dude. That's completely insane. And non-load screen, sign me up. Listen, again, I want to reiterate before everybody goes, CG just said it guarantees 14 T-flops. I never ever said that. I never ever said that. What I'm saying is, there's a possibility, and I linked it, and these things are going to pop up, and they're not always going to be accurate, but sometimes they are, and I think that's the fun part about this type of stuff, right? Like, we're not always going to get accurate stuff, but whether or not it is, we're going to have some fun time to talk about it. So, also some other stuff kind of leaked out, like apparently this November, they're going to do a launch trailer for Death Stranding and a reveal date for The Last of Us 2, which I think would be pretty cool. The email, apparently this is a leaked email, mentions that Ghost of Tsushima, although it won't be shown during State of Play, development is progressing smoothly, and it will be coming to the PS5. I guess it'll probably 100% assuredly come to the PS4 as well, but I've been calling that a PS5 launch game for a little while now, because I think that makes the most sense. You launch it on your next piece of hardware as like a showpiece. That game looked gorgeous, by the way. They also had some Death Stranding screenshots off TV today, off screen, and those look gorgeous. Like, I'm telling you, how they're able to do this stuff on the PlayStation 4 Pro that even they can't do on the Xbox One X, unbelievable what they're able to get out of these things. So yeah, pretty impressed with that. And you know, and I think that it's really important to kind of point out that Sony knows what gamers want. So if they are delivering a box for the hardcore, right? So they're offering this box for the hardcore gamer, and they're saying, hey, we're going to do these AAA titles and more exclusives and less indies, I think that says all you need to know about what Sony's doing. Now, recently they interviewed Phil Spencer, right? And Phil Spencer, they were asking what next generation is going to be about from Phil Spencer, right? And guess what his response was? It was like gameplay, backwards compatibility, inclusion. Nowhere did he mention exclusives, right? So you wonder why hardcore Xbox fans are so hard on the brand right now, right? And that's why he doesn't even mention the term exclusive or AAA games, right? And then you look back to this Matt Booty interview, and this is what I wanted to talk about yesterday before this leak on the PS5 come out. So I guess since I'm doing a long-form video right now, I can talk about it a bit as well. Yeah, Scalebound didn't work out. Fable Legends didn't work out. They can't even get Minecraft to work out. Think about this, fellas and ladies. I don't mean to differentiate. All of us are just gamers here. Microsoft paid $2.5 billion for Mojang, right? That's a $2.5 billion studio. This studio absolutely could not get a 4K update texture pack onto Minecraft. Their only job is Minecraft, and they couldn't do it. But you know what's funny? Modders in the PC community have 4K texture packs on Minecraft. Basically what happens is Microsoft can't get the game to run well with these texture packs across all devices. Now, what does Microsoft want to do next generation? Run Xbox games across all devices. How is that going to work out, folks? Something's going to be held back. Why not put this 4K texture pack on PC and Xbox One X and say forget the rest, right? Oh no, Phil wouldn't want that, guys. Phil wouldn't want to put something exclusively on Xbox and PC because that would make too much sense, right? Why would you want to do that when somebody on a phone or a Switch couldn't get the same thing? I mean, they can still play Minecraft. They just wouldn't get this new thing. So you expect me to think that Microsoft is going to get the most out of a 12 or 13 TFLOP Scarlett? No. That 12 or 13 TFLOP Scarlett is going to have to run a same game that's going to be releasing on the launch Xbox One, the 1.TFLOP ESRAM Xbox One. It's going to have to play on a Xbox One S, an Xbox One SAT edition, an Xbox One X, a cloud streaming device, multiple PC iterations, maybe a Mac version, a Steam version, who knows, right? It's going to have to literally run on, 15 different versions of a thing. It's absolutely ridiculous to think that we're going to get the best version of any games because they're going to be too busy doing this stuff, right? So I know a lot of people dislike me now, and I think that's fine. I'm not going to sit there and bash anybody. I'm not going to bash Xbox owners. I think Xbox owners are great, and maybe you guys will come around and see what I'm doing is just something, trying to do something for everybody, whether you think I'm whining or complaining or not. I do feel like, as a content creator, it's sort of my duty to maybe talk about this stuff, especially since so few people do. And I poked a little fun at this on Twitter, and if you don't follow me, please feel free to follow me. And I said, you know what? I helped make Microsoft show Gears of War 5 footage before the launch of the game. If you look at their original roadmap for Gears of War 5, it was going to reveal the gameplay of the campaign or the launch date of the game, okay, which is September 6th for the early access. Now, for me, that's utterly ridiculous, and myself and other people have been complaining about this. I know that other people have done it too, complained about it too, but I kind of thought that, the way I've heard that I'm a little bit of a thorn in the side to them or whatever. So, as far as that's concerned, but how in the world would anybody think that it would be cool to not show any campaign of this game till the actual launch date? Like, I don't understand how anybody would be okay with that, but apparently people were okay with it. And the other thing that I wanted to point out, getting back to my other point, and I'm going to be doing questions and all that kind of stuff. So if you guys do want to, put some questions in or whatever, I would appreciate it. I'm not even close to being done. I got quite the rant built up from not being able to do a podcast for a little bit. But the other day, or it might have been this morning, I saw a tweet that was floating around, and the funny thing about this tweet was, somebody was like, well, it was something to the tune of, when these games aren't tied down to their plastic boxes, they can really like grow or something like that. Just look at Minecraft and GTA. And I wanted to respond to this particular person on Twitter, and then I decided not to, because there's really no point when it comes to certain people to responding. They're locked into this line of thought, and there's nothing you can say, no matter how logical, that's going to be taken into consideration or anything like that. So I just bit my tongue, but I could talk about it a little bit here. So my first thought would be GTA 5 is a masterpiece of a game. I think it's like a 97 Metacritic, and it spanned multiple generations, and it's got one of the cleanest onlines there is, right? So that's something in and of itself. Minecraft was huge before Microsoft bought it. It fits well on the mobile and things. I actually feel like Minecraft is part of the reason why Microsoft is going down the tubes the way they are, because they're like, oh, look, we bought this thing. It sold 100 million copies. People play it on a phone, blah, blah, blah. What if we gave everybody the chance to play our games on a phone, blah, 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 right? The problem is Minecraft works on a phone, and not every other game in the world does. And the second thing I would point out is, you take a game like Crackdown 3, a 59 rated game. You can put that on whatever you want. PlayStation 4, Switch, Wii U, Game Boy Advance. Put it on everything, and that game is still not selling more than it has. Nobody's going to buy it because it's a bad game. It is a bad game. And bad games don't sell well. And so that's what I always found to be completely funny when it comes to people going, oh, we'll just put it on more stuff. Look, In Exile, right? In Exile is not a great studio. Do you think putting Bard's Tale 4 or Wasteland 3 on PS4 and PC is going to make that game sell 100 million copies like GTA or Minecraft? No, because those games are not good. They don't have mass appeal. Okay? Do you think being able to stream that game on your phone is going to make that game sell suddenly a great big bunch of copies? No. Like Microsoft, like why does somebody like me, who's just an average Joe Blow, know more about this stuff than Microsoft, right? So I'll give you guys a little bit of a clue about what Microsoft's thinking has led to and their downfall and why they're kind of repeating themselves. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So as you guys keep joining in, please like this video, share it out. I would definitely appreciate it. Now, Microsoft, I bet you guys didn't know this, or maybe you did. I'm interested to hear in the chat. Maybe you knew this, maybe you didn't, but Microsoft originally had the Xbox One as selling 200 million consoles, right? Did you know that? They actually believed that the Xbox One would sell 200 million consoles. Now, the reason why they thought it was going to sell all these amounts of consoles, these crazy amounts of consoles, was simple. They were going to get people that weren't traditionally gamers. They were going to attract these people that weren't gamers. They were going to get people in that maybe just wanted to watch TV or casuals and things like that, and they were going to reach these fabled 200 million gamers. Wow, that's a bold strategy, Microsoft. But you know what they gave up in order to reach these 200 million gamers? Their core audience. Their core audience who almost bought 100 million Xbox 360s, and look what happened. Look what happened. They've flushed themselves down the toilet. 28.5 million Xbox One sold, coming off a 90 million generation. Absolutely abysmal. Now, we fast forward. What's Microsoft's plans for next generation? It's not 200 million anymore, folks. It's 2 billion. That's right, 2 billion gamers. Microsoft is going to reach 2 billion gamers. Holy cow. That's a lot of gamers. How is Microsoft going to reach all these gamers, huh? How is Microsoft going to reach all these gamers, these 2 billion gamers? They couldn't even reach the 200 million. Now they want to reach 2 billion. That's right. Why? How are they going to do it? Well, again, they're sacrificing their core audience, their hardcore Xbox audience, and they're going after people that don't traditionally play games and people that play on that are interested in phones and use tablets and things like this. Does this sound familiar, folks? Am I making a lot of sense to you? If I'm making sense to you, hit that like button, share it out, let me know, because you know what? I think I make a lot of sense. Microsoft is absolutely repeating the exact problem that we had going into this generation, right? Going after these fabled large groups of people that aren't traditionally gamers, it's not going to work out for you. They should have focused on the hardcore Xbox gamers. That's what they needed to do. They should have absolutely 100% done that. Warrior Ward, he says booty should never be exclusive. Listen, I'll say this again too. as an Xbox fan, you have to think that Microsoft has the worst PR in the history of PR, right? Public relations. Their public relations people are absolutely abysmal. Some of the worst in the industry. They don't know how to get anything across. When I was looking at him, now listen, I've watched the Matt Booty interview a couple of times. Now I get it. He mentioned specifically that Halo, Forza, Sea of Thieves are Xbox franchises, quote unquote. He conveniently left out Gears of War, and I think the reason is because that's already on Steam and that's a competing platform. So he conveniently leaves that one out, and he mentions, like Obsidian or, who was that, Double Fine. Their future projects could be multiplat, but maybe in the future we might see a situation where, Outer Worlds 2 or Outer Worlds 3 might become an exclusive franchise. I don't know, because I've seen an interview with the head of Obsidian where he said they're under contract, and if there's a sequel, it would be multiplat, so we'll have to see how that works out. But again, Microsoft botches their interviews so much that the headlines from IGN, like the biggest gaming site, says Microsoft confirms they're open to putting games on PlayStation and Switch. And then they ran another headline that was like, which Xbox exclusives would you like to see on PlayStation 4? Right? So these are the headlines that people see. It's not the whole thing, right? But it's enough to where people are going to be like, well, what's the point of even picking up an Xbox? And I think that's something that a lot of people are starting to kind of figure out, that there might not be a lot of different things. You know what I mean? I just think that it's just one of those things. Calls D4C. Yeah, I mean, look, it is what it is, man. There's a lot of people that want to talk about me, but they say if you don't have haters, you're not popping. So I'm good with that. I honestly, I don't care. It's not one of those things that I'm going to get into, but if I see it come across my feed or something, I'll kick them. I'll give it a little fight back. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to sit there and just take crap nonstop from people. You know what I mean? Especially people that think that exclusives are anti-consumer. Like, get out of here. Like if you're one of those people that thinks that exclusives don't matter, or they don't help a console, then we have the Exhibit A. It's called the Xbox, and it's the worst. It's like the worst selling one this generation. It got beat out by the Switch, and the Switch was only out for 2 years. So what's the big reason why this thing's getting outsold so badly? And the only answer is exclusive games, because if you look at it, Microsoft absolutely has a lot of advantages with their services, okay? Like Xbox Live is highly regarded, although it's getting worse and worse with like the forced crossplay and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's just one of those things where, Microsoft really, they kind of have to watch themselves a bit, because they got to be careful with what they say, because it gets run in these big sites. And like, this is something that I pointed out. I did an MNC Mornings or MNC show one time, and we were talking about how Sony announced that they're doing remote play on iPhones, right? Meaning you can remote play your PlayStation 4 games on an iPhone. Cool, right? Because that's Microsoft's big selling point. Sony didn't come out and come down from like a big stage and go, we're going to be doing this, and we'll talk about pricing later and confuse everybody. They did a little release saying this latest update allows you to use remote play on your iPhone. This version it works. This version it doesn't work. You can use this. We're going to look into controller support later. Very simple. When they announced the Switch Lite, okay, when Nintendo announced the Switch Lite recently, they told you exactly what the good and the bad was, right? Okay, this console doesn't dock. The Joy-Cons don't come off. It does this, it doesn't do this, and it doesn't do that. Microsoft would have never done something like that. Right? They would have confused everybody, and nobody would have known what was going on, and it would have taken 10 interviews later. Like, even after all this time, we don't know what the deal is with xCloud. Some people think it's going to be free. Microsoft themselves, Phil Spencer himself, has said, no, we haven't worked out the pricing plan yet. Remote play is going to be free, which is if you have an Xbox and your digital games, you can remote play to your own stuff. That's going to be free, but it's free on PlayStation as well, and nobody uses it. Like, less than 1%. So I don't see how this is going to be like a big thing or a big seller. Like, how is this supposed to save Xbox or help Xbox? Like, I'm not really sure for it is. You know what I mean? Rock Dog says, trade in your Xbox for PS5 now and you should be okay. Well, I'm not going to trade in my Xbox One right now. I have an Xbox One X. I have two of them. I'm not going to trade. I might trade in one towards my PS5. But absolutely, man, I hear what you're saying, because let's be honest. you don't even need the next Xbox to play their games, and I think that's a little bit of a problem going forward as well. I really hope that Microsoft sort of comes out and and does a better job of sort of explaining what's going on. But here's the thing: if it is true that Sony has a ton of games to announce at E3 next year, they show some off at a PlayStation event or something like that, that's going to be bad and hard for Microsoft to compete with, because Microsoft had this entire year where they could have came out ahead of Sony and announced some things to really compete with some games and maybe a little bit more about the console. Instead, they chose to go the really easy route, and they didn't announce anything. And the games themselves that they did announce were like bleeding edge, these like AA type games that aren't really impressive. So, it is a bit kind of annoying and frustrating that they didn't see this opportunity and seize this opportunity, because Sony's going to seize the opportunity now, and everybody's going to be talking about the PlayStation 5. The problem is, I don't want Xbox to fold. I don't want Xbox to go under. I want Xbox to be around for a long time and be competitive. And the fact that they don't take advantage of these moments that they're given, it's really sad to me, and it really is kind of upsetting, because I think we all just want like this competitiveness to be there between these companies, and it's not really they haven't really been competitive. So that's a bit unfortunate. Hey, as we almost get to 300 likes, please hit the like button. I am very much appreciative to it if you are just joining me. So it did kind of come out anyway that what we're noticing with the PlayStation 5 is there's some leaks and stuff like that. Hey, Worrywart, you make a good point. Netflix should put all their originals everywhere. Here's the thing: if you put that stuff everywhere, Worry, what's the point in getting Hulu or your or Netflix, right? If I can watch Stranger Things on something else, then I wouldn't need Netflix. So anyway, here's what we're looking at. According to this leak, the GPU is going to be clocked in at a crazy 2 gigahertz. So this is 9.2 TFLOPs on the RDNA architecture, or roughly around 14 TFLOPs on the GCN architecture, double over the power of the Xbox One X, almost an RTX 2080 power. So it's very powerful, and this was like a Japanese leak. So this would be a huge thing to actually see accomplished from the PlayStation 5. Now, again, take it with a grain of salt, but what we've heard from the Xbox Scarlett is that it's between 12 and 14 TFLOPs or something like that. But for Sony, who everybody just thought would have the lesser of the two consoles, it's pretty impressive. But also probably would for sure be $500. So you do have that to kind of look forward to. Are we going to see crazy adoption rates for the PlayStation 5 like we did with the PlayStation 4? I sort of doubt it, but at the same time, we're going to have to see how it sort of works out and how they plan this, because a lot of people are going to want to know, about the games and stuff like that. You got to have some kind of roadmap, before you can say stuff like this. Like for me anyway, I feel like there is a roadmap that needs to be done, and that has to deal directly with the games. Without the games, what is this stuff, right? Like, I'll never understand. Okay, if you don't like exclusives or what, I don't know who the heck wouldn't want exclusives or who doesn't like exclusives. But if you buy a console, isn't there usually a reason behind buying that console? Like that's always my point. Like, why wouldn't you want there to be a reason to get that console? Like with Sony stuff, their exclusives are really good. With Nintendo stuff, their exclusives are really good. Microsoft are the ones that are always like the odd one out, and they don't seem to really do a good job at producing high quality exclusives. So why would this be something, something like this? Hold on, Jesse. What did he say? Jesse says, I never said I hate you crap. I don't like how you guys treated. Dude, Jesse, listen. I can't get into that stuff on the air because it's not just involving me. If it was just involving me and him, I would say it's okay. But even then, I don't feel like it's proper to air people's dirty laundry. But he quit the show in an email and said he wanted to focus more on his family. That's all I'm going to leave it at. We didn't want him to go. We didn't ask him to go. In fact, we asked him to stay. He wanted to go. And then later on, I didn't even know there was a problem until months and months later, when some people were like, oh, you guys did this or you guys did this. And that was news to me. So I'm not going to get into it because it's not it's not okay for me to sit there and share what was going on in his personal life or what was, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that would be rude, and I don't hate the guy. I don't I'm not going to disrespect the guy. But if people think that, I kind of get sick of people going, oh, you guys did this or you guys. It's not true. It's just not true. Nobody forced him out. It was nothing like that. Okay? Like, we wanted him to do the show. It became too much for him to do, according to his email, and that was it. It moves on. Like, people leave shows all the time. It just happens. It does. It doesn't, like, and usually people are still cool with each other when that happens. With that, I don't know what the deal was. Like I said, I thought everything was cool, and then you start hearing things later. But, I digress. Neither here nor there. I am talking about I also wanted to talk about what Matt Booty was saying, which was he would not be opposed to Xbox exclusives being on other platforms. Now, do I think that Microsoft is going to go full third party in the next 3 to 5 years? I believe so, but that doesn't mean that it's for sure going to happen, right? I think that that's something that Microsoft will probably have to decide on the fly. Okay. That's something that I think that they will probably figure out on their own. And the reason why I say that is because if you look at just how Microsoft have pivoted this generation, if you can look at me without cracking up and just say this in all honesty, if you're a big Xbox fan, can you honestly look me in the face and tell me you 100% believe that Microsoft will never, ever put their exclusive games on a PlayStation or a Nintendo platform natively? Right? Like, I don't think anybody can really realistically say that. And the reason why is because Microsoft changes their direction an incredible amount of times, right? So they tend to do this a lot. When there's something that doesn't go right for them, they pivot and try to do something else. And that's not always necessarily a bad thing, but just look at what the Xbox One started as. Excuse me. The Xbox One started as this console that was going to have DRM, and they really muddled the explanation of it, and no used games, and no doing this, and no doing that, and you can't do this. It was less powerful. It forced connect on you, all this kind of stuff. They went from that to the exact opposite, to this TV stuff, to no, we're all about games, and we're all about this and the players, and we're exclusives, and we were in it to win it. And then they go a different direction. Now it's play anywhere and this, and play your games where you want, when you want, wherever you want. And then it's just, so if you can look at me and say, let's say the Xbox Scarlett starts off next generation in a 20 million to 1 million or 2 million hole, because I actually don't see the Scarlett doing well at all. There's no need for a Scarlett. That's the thing. They literally released an Xbox One X, a 4K machine, 2 years ago? Not even 2 years ago? So there's no need for a Scarlett right now. And they're going to tell people, oh, well, you can buy a Scarlett. And the thing is, because there's not a need, they're going to act like you don't need it. So they're already saying, we don't really care if you buy it or not. So I think that's going to be the big difference. You're going to be able to play the future Xbox Scarlett games on a launch Xbox One. And so what advantage is there to upgrading, right? Like, there is no advantage to upgrading. That's the problem. Now, when you get a PS5, you're going to need a PS5 to play PS5 games. That's the big advantage right there. Like, I'm sure there's going to be some cross-gen stuff at first. Like, it'll be available on PS4 as well, like Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us 2 or whatever. But at the end of the day, these things are going to be, like, exclusive to the PlayStation 5 or whatever. So I feel like that's something that people don't understand, and that's going to be kind of like a downfall for Microsoft, Xbox Scarlett will sell 100 million, says Worry Ward. Oh, you do not believe that. Get out of here. Jesse says, but how come Sony's best-selling game of this generation is not exclusive to their own console? How come no exclusives on the Xbox side in the top 10 are best-selling, dude? I mean, you can't sit there and knock and really pick on that when games like God of War at 15 million and Uncharted 4 is at 17 million and Last of Us is at 17 million and a brand new IP like Horizon Zero Dawn's at 12 or 14 million. Spider-Man's probably going to push 20 million. Like, these are insane numbers. These are numbers. I'll give you a good example. Like, NFL Madden usually sells 8 million a year, and that's on all devices. So these Sony exclusives are outselling multiplats games that are on multiple platforms, folks. That's how big they are. There's a huge difference here. There's a huge difference. Now, the PS5 is going to go out, and I think it's going to start off sounding incredibly well. I think it's going to do extremely well for Sony, and I think the reason why it's going to do well is because Sony's going to get up there, and Sony's going to say, hey, you know what? Here's the games we have coming in the pipeline. And what is Xbox fans, like, in your heart of hearts, what Xbox fans, what are you guys going to do when next year they don't show you any more new AAA IP? Right? It's going to be the same old stuff. A bunch of indies, some small stuff, more Halo, right? What are you going to do at that point? Wait till next year? Wait till 2021? Like, does this joke ever end? Like, that's my point. Let's see. Jesse says, sorry, you're going to buy the Scarlett since you're not going to so much now. I'm not planning on getting a Scarlett. They would have to show at least 5 new AAA IP. And that's putting it lightly. They, like the Fable thing would have been nice if they would have showed it this year, but it's clear that Phil doesn't get it. Phil does not get it. Next doc says, crap, how the heck are exclusives anti-consumer? Is it anti-consumer that Chevy can only make the Camaro? Competition breeds excellence. Exclusives are necessary. I agree 100%. Dual Purpose says, I don't think it will start out bad. It won't be as good as the PS5 sales, but early hardcore adopters are going to buy the Scarlett regardless, but its ceiling is going to be lower, like 25 million. You could be right. I'm not saying that I'm 100% right. I'm just making a bold prediction. I think that the PlayStation 5 is going to jump out to an incredible lead. And when I say incredible, I mean it's going to make what's going on here, with this generation, it's going to make this generation seem like a close call, like a neck and neck call. That's what it's going to do. Obviously, it's not close at all. It's like 100 million PS4s to like 28 million, 29 million Xbox Ones, and Microsoft literally stopped announcing sales because they couldn't do it anymore because nobody was buying their console. Down 48%, and then they damage control their own thing by saying, hey, well, it's fatigue because we already announced the other one, when clearly Sony's hardware sales actually grew, which is pretty impressive when you think about it, since 100 million people have that thing, and it still continues to sell extremely well. This thing might reach 125, 30 million, which is absolutely incredible. And what a comeback from last gen when kind of they stumbled a bit, and they really rebounded when they realized that exclusives are what is going to help them catch up. And if you look at it, the Xbox 360 jumped out to a huge lead, and then thanks to all these exclusives, hit after hit after hit, the PS3 managed to get really respectable, and maybe even gone ahead of the Xbox 360 there at the end. We don't really know officially, but it could have overtaken the Xbox 360, and when you take in the Red Ring stuff, it probably did. It's just one of those things, a lot of people don't want to talk about, but it's 100% accurate. People are going to buy PS5 simply... hold on, let me see. Simply because for sequels of Spider-Man and God of War. That's a really good point. Hey, if you guys are just joining me, please get me over 100 likes. I would definitely appreciate that. Just a random Tuesday stream, having a good time with some friends, with some buds. Like it, share it out. I would appreciate it. So again, if you are just joining me, the rumor is that the PlayStation 5 is going to be about 14 TFLOPs of power. That's pretty good, especially when the rumors surrounding the Xbox Scarlett were putting them in the 12 to 14 range as well, which would mean that these things are going to be incredibly on par, and we might have a very interesting, closer race than what we thought all along, and that's going to be very interesting indeed, just to see how these consoles are going to kind of stack up with each other. And then what it's going to really come down to is like what I've been saying for a long time now, it really comes down to the exclusive content. I think that realistically, people want exclusive games. We know that Sony's going to get up there and announce their games probably 2-3 years out. And we know that Phil Spencer will never, ever do that. Phil Spencer has a credo. Phil Spencer will never announce, games that are too far out. Like I said, his team couldn't even get a 4K Minecraft update out. How the heck are they going to get these other games out, right? So yeah, like I have my doubts about what they're going to be able to accomplish with this stuff in the future as well. So I know you all do too. Like at some point you have to have faith in your developers, but then at another point you have to realize that, hey, your developers are really just not that great. You know, like at some point you have to go, wow, these developers dropped the ball and just are not very good developers. And unfortunately, it seems like all the bad developers go to Microsoft. It was funny because have you guys ever noticed, and when I say guys, I mean, it could be girls as well. It doesn't really matter. But have you noticed that Xbox fans get really excited when there's an announcement that somebody joins the Initiative Studio or some other Xbox studio, right? Like, these are the headlines, okay? And a lot of sites do this. These are the headlines. So-and-so from Naughty Dog joins the Initiative. So-and-so from Sony Santa Monica Studios helped build God of War. Goes to the Initiative, right? Like, these people could have been janitors at these studios, but they're going to Xbox Studios, so now they're great. Right? Like, I have never seen people get excited. Like, and that's how you know that there's a lack of content and a thirst for content. No matter how badly people damage control it. Like, look how many people might do a video about these people joining the Initiative, right? Megaton. They joined the Initiative. This is great news because we're getting fantastic exclusives. See, I told you they're coming. You know, like, at the end of the day, why get excited about people joining a studio? Like, shouldn't we be getting excited about something being announced sometime, right? Like, that to me is something to get excited about, not exactly, you know, when we're out there talking about games in 2023 or whatever. Berserker says if Phil were to announce a game that won't come out until 2022, 2023, that would look pretty bad because gamers will wonder what they've been doing for the past 5 years. Well, Berserker, listen, we know what they've been doing for the last 5 years, canceling games and trying to sell us more hardware, right? So we know they weren't doing anything impressive. They haven't been doing anything. They've literally been coasting, giving us these really low budget games, man. Halo Wars 2, State of Decay 2, Sea of Thieves, Crackdown 3. Ugh, bad games. Ugh. The only games that they spent money on is the Forza games, and even that got stale. Forza Horizon 4 is nowhere near as good as Forza Horizon 3, you know? So, yeah, they've really kind of messed up in a lot of ways this generation. I do think that they've got to come out there swinging with some new game announcements, but at this point, they can't worry about what people are going to say. You know, honestly, you can't worry about that anymore. Hold on. What says no Crapgamer. The art director for God of War went to the Initiative. Hey, that's cool, man. But you don't think that the next God of War is gonna look brilliant all the same, right? Like, honestly, like, just because you have somebody on there and something looks good on the paper doesn't mean that it's gonna translate into a good game. And then, even if it does, when are you gonna see this game? If it doesn't come out till 2024, they're not gonna show it till 2023. That's 4 years from now, and it wouldn't release till 5 years from now. That's an insanely long wait. And you know that Phil Spencer's not going to announce anything up until that point. Like, that's not what he does. Phil Spencer absolutely does not announce anything unless it is ready to come out. And that's just a fact. You know, hopefully you guys start to understand that a little bit. And I'm not saying, like, listen, early on we used to make fun of Sony because they'd announce their stuff a little bit too early. And I get that. But you know what else I noticed looking back? And look back at those other E3s. Like, I went back and watched some of the reactions and the crowd at those Sony E3s from the past few E3s. Like, the crowd, when they hear these announcements, they go insane. They get these huge AAA games, man. It's crazy. And the fans love it. So, yeah, maybe they announce things a little bit too early, but they get excited. It really helps the platform. It gets people amped, and I think that's great. Now, when you look at the Microsoft side of things, they have... When was the last AAA announcement? It was like 2015, like I said. So the last 4 years, literally nothing. And Phil Spencer acts like he hears us because, remember XO last year? He goes, yeah, I heard some of the feedback, and... yeah, people wanted to hear some kind of a game announcement, but we held stuff back. And he always says we held stuff back. The only thing that they announced that they could have possibly held back was Bleeding Edge. And to be honest with you, that would have made more sense at XO last year because that's like this small free-to-play game that nobody cares about. But at least it's something, you know, as opposed to waiting for it and trying to make it into a big deal this year at E3 when it's obviously not a big deal. You know, like that to me just doesn't make sense. Like a lot of things that Phil Spencer says and does absolutely does not make any sense whatsoever. So for me, it doesn't. It's just sort of weird to see this kind of thing kind of come out. Do I think Quantic Dream saying no go multiplat is a negative for Sony? I don't know. You know, I think we'll have to see how that plays out. You know, I'm sure that they want sort of like I look at Quantic Dream as being as being their remedy, as they're like Sony's remedy, to be honest with you. What I mean by that is they did these games that are really good, or at least a couple of them are really good, and they didn't exactly sell extremely well. So for me personally, yeah, I think that that's sort of the situation. Like Detroit Become Human is absolutely a brilliant game, like a one-of-a-kind game. I think it's absolutely fantastic. But with that being said, it's just always sort of strange to see, you know, the game like that not sell as well as I think maybe it should have. And so maybe going multi-plat, they think that they're going to get the sales that they want. But I feel like if you had Detroit on Xbox at the beginning, you know, and it had to run on all these other consoles too, I feel like that game wouldn't have looked as good or probably been as good. You know, so we'll have to see. I mean, obviously losing that developer as an exclusive second-party developer is a blow, but it seems like Sony has a lot of other people to kind of step in line there. Please hit the like button. Javier says flip-flop, 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 flip-flop. Yep, I agree, Javier. Microsoft sure did flip-flop. Remember that time when they announced exclusives and said it's all about the games, and they were in it to win it? Yeah, that's when I really loved Xbox, and then they flip-flopped and didn't care about exclusives or winning, and then I stopped caring. So, yeah, they did flip-flop, man. Thanks for pointing that out. Rich says, hi, Crap. You remember yesterday when we had that discussion with game trailers on Twitter? What's your verdict on Microsoft releases on everything? I think Game Trailers is going to owe me Death Stranding once Gears of War 5 doesn't get a 95 Metacritic. Yes, that dude actually bet me that Gears of War 5 would get a 95 Metacritic, and if it didn't, he has to get me Death Stranding. So we'll see how that works out. I think, you know, I think Xbox games will eventually be on everything once the Scarlett fails. Once Xbox Scarlett completely fails, we will see Xbox games absolutely on everything, and that's just the way it's going to be because they're going to have to pivot to stay alive because this cloud streaming stuff ain't it, Chief. Hold on. Let me see this. Matty B says, All Trust is gone 2 years and couldn't get a 4K texture pack working on Minecraft. The wheels haven't fallen off. There are no wheels. Yeah, you know, I said this. It's really bad. Like, how can you not have... you know, Microsoft, you know, you got to have some kind of transparency there. You got to have transparency there, and you got to be there for your fans, and you got to give them some kind of reason to be excited. So a lot of people will tell me, well, they don't want another situation like with Scalebound, right? And I go, okay, well, that's fair enough, but listen, you don't want to do another Scalebound, but guess what? Your negative perception by not announcing anything because you're too afraid to cancel something is worse than canceling something. So them not announcing anything for 5 years, that's worse than actually announcing something and canceling it. Yeah, Scalebound sucked because they canceled it, and you know that sucked that they had to do that. Then they canceled other games. That sucked. But at some point, you got to have faith. Why are you hiring developers if they can't do the job to begin with? So you have to have faith in your developers. They have to put out the game. You have to get people excited. Like, why? People don't understand. There was such an exodus from Xbox 360 to this generation, and there's going to be another big exodus. People are already plotting exit strategies. I got people that have been gaming with me on Xbox for 15 years that are telling me their exit strategy to get a PS5 next generation because Xbox has lost the plot. They refuse to announce anything. People tell me that the mood at E3 was so bad after E3 because they literally didn't announce anything. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I just feel like, you know, it's just one of those things that we can't be apathetic about. We've got to keep pushing Microsoft. I know people want to throw out the word toxic, like, ACG, you're toxic. I get called toxic all the time, and it's like just because I have a different opinion of stuff. I don't harass anybody. I don't talk. I don't, like, screech at anybody. I will respond to people. if they come at me, but it's not like usually in a mean-spirited way or anything like that. So I don't understand when people sit there and say that kind of stuff to me. Oh, toxic. It's like anything with a different point of view, you're toxic or it's not right. You know what I'm saying? And I don't agree with that at all. I think that that's just absolutely ridiculous, and I hope that a lot of you people do see it that way as well, because at the end of the day, man, we all just want to be gamers and be excited for what's coming, and I feel like, you know, so far, like, there is no reason to be really excited about Xbox. Maybe one day there will be. Maybe they'll get their stuff together and start, you know, doing what's best for the brand and decide to, you know, refocus. I don't know. But all I know is the focus that they have right now isn't working out for most people. Like, we want exclusive games. Like, it's not wrong to run exclusive games. Like, why is it that people look at it as, oh, you know, you want exclusive games, that's wrong or whatever, you're so greedy or something like that. Like, why is that greedy? Why is that wrong? I don't understand why people think that way. You know, like, wanting we pay what, $500 for these things, and we can't want exclusive content for it as well. Like, I feel like that we get called childish or whatever if we want some exclusive content. How ridiculous is that? Okay, think about that for a second. We're the ones that are forking over our hard-earned money, you know, usually $500 or more. And at the end of the day, I think we deserve exclusive content, reasons to buy these things. Like, otherwise, what's the point? If they're all playing the same games, what the heck is the point of, you know, of getting these multiple different consoles, right? Like, that's always my point, was there's not really any point to getting them if they're all going to be playing the same thing and they're all going to be you know, pretty much equal. Like, it's the content that matters, the exclusive content. Like, everybody can play multiplats, and I think that's cool, but it's really the exclusive content for me that sort of shares, you know, where the fun and the joy is. You know, like, yeah, there's other things that you can do, but at the end of the day, it's just one of those things that I really love the idea of playing something specifically designed for that particular piece of hardware, and Microsoft fails to realize that. If you look at the stuff that's designed for their hardware, it doesn't look very good. I mean, Crackdown 3 didn't look good. State of Decay 2 doesn't look good. Sea of Thieves looks good for its art style, but it's not like a realistic type game or anything like that. So, I mean, it is kind of what it is. You know, just a lot of their games just do not look very good. They're not very graphically appealing, and I feel like that's going to be a bit of a problem. How do you sell next-gen hardware when your games aren't graphically appealing? That's a bit of a problem. Eddie T says, just showing some support, enjoying these impromptu podcasts. Keep it up. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Next doc says, console consumers need to understand these billion-dollar companies do not have our best interest in mind. We need them to compete for our dollar, hence the exclusives. That's exactly it. They 100% need exclusives, great exclusives. Javier McCain says, because most of the stuff you say, you don't even know what you're talking about. Please, Javier, let me know what I don't know what I'm talking about. I would love. I did a face reveal not too long ago. I've got some videos where I'm working on. The reason why I had to pause on some of those other videos that I had with my actual self in the videos was because of this OBS stuff, right? So I was forced to kind of learn OBS simply because Google stopped doing the regular Hangouts. So it's very tricky. I'm not like the most tech savvy person when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I'm learning OBS and how to do inserts and all this kind of stuff. So this will all help me down the line as well, doing some more stuff. Rich says, hey Crap, do you think Quantic Dream can make AAA huge new IP like Detroit because Sony funded Detroit? I think they can. Supposedly they're going to be able to do. They're going to publish their own games as well, like other people's games. So I feel like they have a lot to kind of offer. Like, I'm excited to see what they're going to be able to do. So what's that? Zenique says, hey Crap, you don't know what you were talking about. If you do, let's have a debate. Dude, I've been debating people all day. Let me know what you don't think I'm talking about, right? I would love to know on which point specifically am I uneducated on that you think you're right about and that I'm wrong about. Let me know. Let me know. Yes, I have a Gears of War tattoo on my arm, just like in this picture. Let's see. Pay $500 for a $5 game. Yeah, I mean, listen, a lot of the games that we've been getting on Xbox have been pretty pretty lackluster. I do think that we're going to be able to get better games down the line, but personally, I'm not going to wait till 2023 to get these games announced. Like, there should have been something in place for us fans long before this point, folks. Long before the point. Hit the like button, please. Yeah, Tencent is Quantic's partner. Tencent is huge. Yeah, they're also partnering with Bungie. Like, they're a conglomerate. Yeah, they gave Bungie $100 million for a new project. Do I think PS5 could sell over 2 billion copies? No. Xbox 4K says, hey, crap, I want to get you drunk for your 21st birthday. Dude, that was a long time ago. That was a very long time ago. Which console am I getting next gen? I am buying a PlayStation 5 day one. We're going to have to see about the Scarlett. Scarlett's definitely not a day one buy for me. Why would you still buy an Xbox Scarlett at this point? They would have to show off multiple new IP that would have to launch with that console, not just Halo. Because, first of all, I think they're going to botch the Halo announcement simply because I think Halo is going to allow crossplay and it's going to force crossplay. So the only thing that I feel like for crossplay, it's going to be just like Gears of War 5. So basically, if you want to play ranked, you're going to be able to disable crossplay with mouse and keyboard on PC. But I think anything unranked, which is all I play, is going to be PC mouse and keyboard enabled the whole time. Like, that's going to be horrible. Absolutely horrible. And I don't want any part of it. It's going to kill off that game on console very quickly. And so I feel like they're really kind of screwing over the fans that look forward to a fair game on there. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but he says, what if Fable is a launch title? Would you buy Scarlett? I probably would, but I've heard Fable is much further away than what we initially thought. So if you didn't know, Playground Games is working on the new Fable. Now, Playground Games has two teams. One of them works on the Horizon series. One of them is working on Fable. The studio that they built for the team working on Fable, they just moved into that in April of this year. So, 4 months ago. There's only 60 people at this studio, and they're trying to hire people to get up to 200. So a studio of only 60 people, that would mean to me that they literally probably don't have much of this game done. So I'm going to say that this game's probably 2022, 2023, and we are very far away from it. That's why we didn't get an announcement. But I do feel like that Phil might break his little habit and actually announce this game next E3 just because he doesn't have anything else. Like, what else would there be to announce? There's literally nothing, because In Exile, they don't have anything. Compulsion, they won't have anything. Ninja Theory, they won't be ready yet. The Initiative, they won't be ready yet. Obsidian, they're not ready because they're releasing Outer Worlds this year. So all their news, Double Fine, they're not ready because they're not releasing their games, Psychonauts 2 and Rad, until next year in their multiplats. So none of the studios that they've bought are going to have anything ready to show off next year. So the only thing that you can really possibly look at is them taking a risk and announcing the next Fable. But they might not even do that because the last Fable was canceled and they don't want to announce something too early. So I do feel like, on one hand, we might get a Fable announcement, but on the other hand, I feel like we might not, simply because, they're kind of so worried about that whole situation again. Like, oh no, what do we do? Fable, it's we can't announce it again because what happens if we cancel it? Like, at some point, I do feel like you've got to get over that stuff and kind of come out there and announce something. And until they get to that point, I feel like we're never going to get these great games that we deserve. Like, you have to be able to do that. It's Skeleton Bones, but I don't blame. Okay, man, that's my bad. It just looks like a bunch of backwards letters and numbers and stuff to me. So yeah, I appreciate it, man. Rich says, hey crap, do you think Xbox Scarlett having Halo Infinite as launch title will make it a better proposition in the beginning? No, because I think Sony's going to launch with Gran Turismo, and they're going to launch with Ghost of Tsushima, and they're going to probably launch with something else as well. And they're also going to show off titles that are coming within the next couple of years, and that's going to be the big difference maker right there. Rob Jones says, what's up, crap? Miss Crap Mondays. Yeah, I didn't do it because I had problems with Windows updates and OBS. I'm still learning this stuff. Crap, none of the PS4 AAA games will be ready next year. We already know about Last of Us 2, Ghost. So yeah, Ghost is rumored to be moving to be a launch title for the PlayStation 5 as well, and GT7 is supposedly going to be a game launch title as well, and there's also maybe Guerrilla Games' second game, the first-person shooter, could be ready. But it'd be foolish to think that Sony isn't going to show off games like Spider-Man 2 at some point, or the next God of War, or Horizon Zero Dawn 2. They're going to show off these big franchises that people absolutely love, and that's going to get people excited. And what's Microsoft going to show off? I feel like, Microsoft isn't going to really have those big AAA titles to show off because Phil Spencer refuses to do that, and I think that's going to be, the biggest problem, I do think that Microsoft will eventually have some games, but I don't think it's gonna really matter because Sony's gonna be out to such a huge lead that it's just gonna be absolutely ridiculous. It's gonna be crazy. Microsoft is gonna have to pivot at some point. Their next gen. Like look at that, and you can't say no, they won't do that crap because. They're just known to do it. That's what Microsoft does. They pivot. They change what they do. They change what the ideas that they have, and I feel like that's what they're going to continue to do. They're going to pivot and change, and it's kind of ridiculous what they do. Crap, you really counting them PS4 titles, dude? I'm telling you, if Halo Infinite isn't Halo Infinite an Xbox One title, bro? You don't think you're going to be able to play that Halo Infinite on the launch Xbox One 1.TFLOP Xbox One? I'm telling you, the rumor is that just leaked out, Ghost of Tsushima is going to be a PlayStation 5 launch title. So I'm just saying, The Last of Us 2 is going to come out next year as well. Like, that's going to be playable. I don't know if it's going to have a version of it on the PlayStation 5, but they're going to have games. So look, Sony's going to show off the PlayStation 5 in February, and then Microsoft isn't going to have anything to show until E3, and then they're not going to show any games because they don't have any games. What are they going to show? Tell me what studio that Microsoft owns is going to be ready to show anything. Another motorsport game? Great. It's too early for another State of Decay. What are we going to see? Like, Microsoft is not going to have anything special to show that's going to really attract. Nobody's going to go, man, I got to get that Xbox for this. Right? They're going to go, I got to get that PlayStation because that's where that new God of War is coming out. That's the only place I can play it. That new Spider-Man, did you see that? That one's got the Avengers in it. Holy cow, I can't wait to play that. Wow, a Steampunk Naughty Dog new IP. Got to play that. Got to get a PS5 for that, baby. You know what I'm saying? With Xbox, it's like, what? A State of Decay 3. Can't wait to play that, but I can play it on a phone or a tablet or, probably a Nintendo Switch or who knows what else, man. Like, there's no reason to buy an Xbox anymore, folks. They took away every single reason there was to own one. Believe it or not, man, they did. I know a lot of you don't refuse to believe that fact, but it's just the truth. They took away the uniqueness of the console. They are chasing after these faraway dollars, this money, that 2 billion gamers. That's what they're going after. They don't care about, the hardcore, the hardcore fans of the Xbox console itself. They only care about, reaching those 2 billion gamers, just like they only cared about 200 million gamers, and they sacrificed all of us hardcore. And now I said that multiple times, and it still rings true. They sacrificed a hardcore gamer on the Xbox One for a chance to make a quick buck and appeal them to other people that weren't gamers. They're doing the same thing now with xCloud, right? Same thing, same exact thing. It's ridiculous, man. They're gonna absolutely flub it as well. Hit the like button if you guys are just joining me. I'd like to get to 150 likes. That would be great. Long Drive says, why wasn't they at E3 if they have games for 2020? Because their games for 2020 we already know their games, dude. We know that this year was going to be Days Gone, Shenmue 3, Judgment, what was the other one? Oh, Death Stranding, Concrete Genie, Medieval Remake, and we know next year they're going to have Last of Us 2, and they're going to also have Ghost of Tsushima. Whether or not that's a cross-gen title or whatever, we don't know. But why would they announce their PlayStation 5 games this year, when they still have megatons of PS4 games that are still coming out? So you don't want to kind of like bury yourself, right? So they're kind of coy with that stuff, because I think The Last of Us 2 obviously is going to be a huge game for them. So Next Doc says, If Xbox is all about options, why isn't there an option to identify who's using mouse and keyboard? Why can't I turn crossplay off in any mode? Why can't I enjoy Gears Tactics on console with controller? Good point. It was funny because Mikey Barr on Twitter posted yesterday that he was really looking forward to Call of Duty. And I said, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it because it's offering crossplay that, one, lets you disable it, and two, if you do want to do crossplay, lets you pick your opponent via input device. So keyboard and mouse versus keyboard and mouse, or controller versus controller only. Like, I'm not against crossplay. I'm against cheating. I'm against that kind of stuff. So that's how I look at things. Rich says, hey, Crap, do you think Microsoft's mantra, no gamer is left behind, ruined Minecraft super duper graphics packs because they wanted to fit the pack on mobile devices while I can't see Xbox One handling it, or can see Xbox One handling it? This is something I talked about a little bit earlier. So, yeah, I think that them wanting to get all their games on everything was the reason this was canceled. This could have absolutely run on PC and Xbox One X, but the fact of the matter is it couldn't run on these other pieces of hardware, and so they canceled it. So we lose out because of this, even though we paid $500 for this expensive console. This is a big problem and a big thing that's going to haunt them next generation. Like, you've got to, at some point, just give it to your fans, right? You've got to, like, how do you cancel this? Look, Mojang, their whole thing is just Minecraft. You spent $2.5 billion on this studio in this game, and you can't get a texture pack out? There's mods for this that do the same thing on PC right now. How is it that fans for free can do this, but this studio that Microsoft paid $2.5 billion with this game can't do the same, right? So how's that scalability that they keep bragging about? How's that going to work next generation? Also, I want to point out that the dudes that were saying that I was wrong and they were right, they conveniently disappeared from the chat when I asked them to please tell me what I was wrong about and what they were right about. Interesting. J Gaming, have I seen that? No, listen, I haven't. Someone pointed out to me that something along those lines that he put that there was 50 million Xbox One sold, which is, I haven't watched it, so I don't really know, but that's ludicrous. Like, there's absolutely no way that there's 50 million Xbox One sold. So, listen, people, like, I'm not going to knock anybody's hustle. It is what it is. If people want to believe that I feel like if there was 50 million Xboxes sold, Microsoft would have announced it. But Xbox is what we thought it was. The last couple of years are a really big indication of what their idea is. Play your games while you poop. Play your games on your watch. But the problem is they haven't decided to actually give us any games worth playing while we do those things. So that's a bit of a problem. Mojang living the selfie life, chasing those waterfalls. Exactly, Maddie. This is something that, that a lot of these studios do. They have a lot of downtime. There's no crunch. It's like you can't even get a graphics pack out, and you want us to believe that these studios are going to deliver big quality titles to us, which, again, by the way, I'll point out to the rest of you if you didn't know, Matt Booty did do this Game Informer interview, and in this interview, he specifically mentions that Ninja Theory is doing AA games. Like, a lot of people were thinking that Ninja Theory was doing, like, these big AAA game in addition to Bleeding Edge, which is a AA. No, Matt Booty confirmed that Ninja Theory is doing more AA games, games like Hellblade, like those 10 to 12-hour games or whatever. And even if you like Hellblade, I know some people do, that game is very linear. It's very pretty, but it's not a very good game in my opinion. It's just a game that's full of looking puzzles, and if that's your thing, I think that's cool. But for me personally, looking puzzles isn't exactly my jam, and I hope that they're not making Hellblade 2. Hopefully it's a new IP, and it's really well polished, because like these AA titles are for the birds, like We Happy Few and Wasteland 3. Like, these games have zero interest for the most part for console gamers. So I don't understand some of Microsoft's strategy when it comes to signing these studios or getting these studios. Developers probably prefer Sony since they won't pressure them to make games multi-platform. That's true. Earthworm Jim says, Crap, even if Xbox got exclusives as good as PS5, people will still choose PS5. Everyone plays third party on PlayStation. Yeah, but listen, if Xbox had killer apps, right, that you could only get on Xbox, that would help them tremendously in the long run, right? Like Microsoft has to realize that. Like at some point, you have to realize that, hey, people want killer apps. People want these amazing games on our console, you know. And I feel like Microsoft hasn't done a really good job at selling people on their console lately. Hopefully, they do in the future. But for me right now, like, how can a hardcore Xbox fan like myself not want another Xbox? Right? It's gotten to that point. I don't trust them to support their next Xbox for the entirety of next generation. You know, if you just look at what Microsoft is doing, they're not doing anything to really kind of sell people on what they're bringing to the table. It's just really not a good look for them at all, and it's unfortunate because they had a really good start with those exclusives that they launched with this generation, and now it's like they not only do they not have exclusives, but they don't have anything. Like, how does a company worth that much money literally have nothing for their fans for this long? I don't understand it. Right now, we could sit there and go, oh well, Ori or this or Cuphead, like those. Are you kidding me? We had PUBG exclusive for, what was it, a year? Again, Phil Spencer doesn't believe in buying content to keep off other platforms, but they did get PUBG exclusive for a year, right? So, like, again, like this guy, you know, Huckster Phil, you know, he says one thing. So anybody that always uses that, I love it when people use these different arguments, right? Like, oh man, Phil Spencer, he's really the man because he said this and Matt Booty said that. Like, they're not going third party. Matt Booty said so, right? Like, how would you believe what Matt Booty said right now versus what he said last year or what Phil Spencer said last year? Okay, do we pick and choose what we believe from these people? That's the point that I always try to make, is you gotta be careful when it comes to sort of you know, understanding what these big company people are all about. They're all about themselves, and they're definitely not about the gamers or anything like that. Go Browns. No way, Matty Beast. Dual Purpose says that if you want to know that Microsoft... What's up, Kiran Williams? Dual Purpose says, and if you want to know what Microsoft is doing, compare Don and Phil. Don got fired for his work. Phil got promoted. Yeah? Listen, I don't see how Phil... Like, no offense, but I don't see how Phil still has a job. Like, if you're a coach and your team goes 0-16 for 5 straight years, I'm pretty sure you're out of a job and they're on to the next thing. I would expect that, you know, why wouldn't somebody come in with a better plan? Get your hardcore back. Next Doc says Microsoft is slowly converting their mindless husks into Xbox as a service app with multiple subscriptions to take the cash. Xbox is in transition away from the console. I 100% believe that as well. Hey, please hit the like button. I would appreciate it. Oh, Top Dog brings up a good point. He says the only 2 games from Ninja Theory was Heavenly Sword and Enslaved. Those are good games. I like DMC. I thought that was a pretty good game as well. So if you guys are in here, please hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. I thought DMC was a really good... I thought it was a good game. You know, I know not everybody was into it, but at the same time, I thought it was fun. You know, so, like, I'm not going to knock it. I feel like they did a pretty good job with that. I know a lot of people maybe weren't as big of fans or whatever, but I thought they did a pretty good job with it. You know, it's going to really take a lot to convince me that they're going to do AAA, especially, like, what do you believe? Like, Matt Booty, his last few interviews, he mentions they picked up certain amounts of these studios for Game Pass, right? Like, they're just looking to fill Game Pass with games, these like AA quality games, and that's exactly what they're doing. So, you know, it's just one of those things where we kind of can see what's going on, and hopefully in the future they do decide to step it up, because apparently they have less employees than I thought. Matt Booty said they have something like 70, and 20 or 25 of them are working on Bleeding Edge, which leaves like 45 working on the other project, which is definitely not AAA numbers, by the way. And man, it would be pretty lame, by the way, if if these games were actually not, you know, AAA or whatever. Like, that would be pretty bad. Perfect Dark 2 and 2 Human 2. Maybe Xbox is getting these games ready for Scarlett. Will Xbox bring back another Perfect Dark game or 2 Human game? Real Dragon, no. 2 Human was going to be a trilogy, but Silicon Knights closed down. There was some kind of embattlement there with the Unreal Engine. As for Perfect Dark, Matt Booty, when asked if they thought about doing these old IP, he says he is, quote, aware of that they own IP like Perfect Dark, but that it would take a studio that was really passionate about the project to do it, because obviously Rare wouldn't do it. So it would take a studio that would be passionate about it to actually get it done. And he used Killer Instinct and Battletoads as examples of studios coming to them that were enthusiastic to do them. And so again, I feel like that's one of those situations where, you know, I don't see it happening. Like, there were numerous leaks that maybe we would get a new Perfect Dark. I'm thinking now that those were bogus. I don't think they're going to bring back any of those old IP. What we're getting in the future is more Gears, more Halo, more Forza. You know, we're going to get a new IP from a new multiplayer only IP from Rare. We're going to get a Fable, and you know, and then we're getting a bunch of smaller stuff. Unfortunately, maybe in 2025 when Outer Worlds 2 comes out, maybe that's exclusive, but maybe it won't be. I don't know. You know, all I do know is there's some studios that, according to Matt Booty, that are allowed to do multi-platform titles in the future, which is a bit unfortunate. Just kind of looking at what's going on, and I do hope that you know, some things change eventually. They have to realize how exclusives are super important. They do. Like, I do not understand how they can't understand that. Dude, hey, Javier, man, Phil Spencer, man, are you kidding me? Phil Spencer, like, that guy, whatever. No, Xbox doesn't own Cuphead. They had like the publishing rights. They let it go to Switch. It's going to be in what, those cars, right? Those those cars that don't need drivers. AK Massifier says, crap, what's up with Microsoft dropping the last night? I hear because the dev made some statements that weren't PC. Heard anything? Well, that game is like in some kind of legal trouble or something anyway. I doubt that it ever releases. So you can just chalk that up to another game that Microsoft showed off that will probably never get released. And yeah, I mean, Microsoft does a lot of that. There's just a ton of games that Microsoft you know, announces, or they show off these little games, even the little interesting ones like that, and then something happens, and you know, it just doesn't look like it's gonna work out that way. You know, hopefully something changes in the future. You know, hopefully it will, but I don't know. I'm not really sure. Let's see. Hit the like button, y'all. We're close to 150. I would appreciate it. Rodane says PS5 is going to send Microsoft to the graveyard. Well, I think at least the Xbox console, right? Xbox will probably exist as an app and some of these other things, but I do feel like the reason why you know, Microsoft is so invested in the cloud and some of these other things is to offset the losses of Xbox itself, because obviously people aren't buying Xbox consoles. Like, they just aren't doing it, you know, and that's a little bit unfortunate. But, you know, at the end of the day, I do feel like that Microsoft really had a chance, and they continue to have chances if they can actually, you know, take advantage of those chances. That's another story altogether. But you know, I wouldn't know. Xbox 4K, peace, bro. Microsoft owns a ton of IP. Top Dog, you're right, he does. But they do nothing with them. Nothing. Rich says, crap, do you think Microsoft will be making games like Horizon Zero Dawn, Ghost of Tsushima, and Last of Us 2 if Game Pass wasn't a part of the plan? No. Microsoft is going to continue making, you know, games as a service type games, you guys. That's just what they're going to do. Like, they're into games as a service. If you don't know what games as a service is, that's like these games where they constantly update it. Very much like Sea of Thieves. That's a games as a service. State of Decay 2. Even Forza Horizon 4 is games as a service. So yeah, I would say that like their plan. The only single player stuff we're gonna get is stuff like the single player portion of Halo, the single player portion of Gears, little stuff like Ori or Battletoads or whatever. You know, like little stuff like that. I seriously doubt that they will ever give us just a strictly single player game with no kind of multiplayer or co-op or something like that. And, you know, is that smart? I don't really know. You know, I feel like, you know, Microsoft really doesn't care about those types of games, you know. It just really, really, really sucks. You know, especially if you're a big fan or you expected more. Maddie says, weird how Microsoft understands exclusivity when it comes to streamers. Yeah, I mean, they can buy Ninja, right? but then at the end of the day, they can't get exclusive games for fans that are dropping, hundreds and thousands of dollars into their console and ecosystem for years and years. So yeah, like I don't understand what they're talking about or what they're doing when it comes to this kind of stuff. I really wish that they would, because at the end of the day, it really just comes down to the games and Microsoft has the least liked games, and it's just so funny when we see stuff like, what's up with the puff pieces on Phil Spencer lately? If you guys see this, so GameSpot did an article yesterday called "Phil Spencer is exactly who you think he is," with like this big old puff piece on Phil Spencer about how he took over the troubled brand, even though he sat there in the room meetings and allowed all this stuff to happen. So there was that one on GameSpot. Then there's this other one that's on WCCF Tech. Phil Spencer is like a chess player, always thinking 5 steps ahead, says Xbox Game Studios head. So that's and then you got the Matt Booty stuff. Then you got this other puff piece about State of Decay 2, which is called this: State of Decay 2 is in a strong place. What's next for the survival game? Right? They announced 5 million players, quote unquote. By the way, if you've ever loaded up that game, you're a quote unquote player. So yeah, I don't get it either. It's that game had potential. They could have been a big AAA game, but nope. They just obviously didn't care enough to kind of make that happen. Stuffs to consider, says Crap. Do you think Sony will watch Microsoft regarding cloud and perfect it to make theirs better, just like they did with PlayStation Plus? They're using Microsoft's cloud platform, right? So I think what Sony's going to do, and what I've heard, is that there are people that are in like the beta program on PlayStation, where how Sony's going to do this is, if you have a digital game, you're going to be able to stream that game to like a phone or something, just like Microsoft's plan. But I don't think they're going to charge for it, and I don't think they're going to have a service for it. Like, Microsoft wants to do, you pay a certain amount a month and you can stream games. I don't think Sony's going to do that. Sony's idea is, if you already own the game, then you can stream it, right, to your mobile device or whatever. But I don't think they're going to do like PlayStation Now day and date exclusives, because they know exclusives are what really sell their devices, and devices are critically important going forward. Like, I know a lot of people don't realize that, but trust me when I say these devices are critically important to the success of both these platforms and even the Nintendo Switch. So realistically, it just comes down to what they can offer in terms of the games. Again, all these podcasts, all these Xbox podcasts or whatever, should start and stop with, Xbox needs to announce something. We need some AAA exclusives. We need something, some kind of roadmap to get us excited, to get us on board with them for the future of Xbox. Because right now, Xbox is going to continue to lose, and they're going to continue to kind of, people aren't going to care about that brand as long as they can foresee them not having any kind of exclusives. If you can play their games on phones and toilets or whatever, it's, why would you buy an Xbox? That's always been my point. And hopefully you guys kind of see this as well. It's just kind of ridiculous the way that Microsoft does these things. It's a little bit crazy. 9 Live says, Crap, will you ever debate Phil Spencer 1v1? I would love to. You know what? I wouldn't mind doing that to any of these Xbox fans, right? But oddly enough, you guys see nobody's inviting me on their Xbox podcast, right? And you know why? Because I have all these quotes and I have all these stories right here, easy enough to pull. And when you start just making stuff up and trying to counter me with, but the games are coming, and I'm like, when? The last one was announced here, there's not really, it makes them look bad, and people don't like to look bad in front of their audience, and so I just feel like it's Microsoft. It's been tough to appreciate or be an Xbox fan over the last couple of years in particular, and I tried. And then at a particular point this past E3, if you guys were watching me and Mooch's live stream, it was just, man, it was just so bad. I literally wanted to cry. I know that sounds like a weakling move to admit, but I literally wanted to cry because the game, like, it was such a bad E3. You know, I almost wish that they hadn't even done E3. It was just so bad. Now Truth says, crap, just admit it. PlayStation and Xbox are weak pieces of hardware. Stop with all this over-exaggerating these great exclusives. Now Truth, I don't know if you've looked at some of the sales or Metacritic of these PlayStation 4 exclusives, but there's no over-exaggerating there. God of War is, quite frankly, the best game ever created and my favorite game of all time, and won Game of the Year, and won hundreds of games, or what, 50, 60 Game of the Year awards. So there's no over-exaggeration there. I don't really consider them weak, considering even the Pro at, what, 4.2 teraflops is more powerful than majority of people's PCs. So yeah, and I don't think the Xbox One X is weak, but they don't take advantage of it. So that's really a problem. That's really a problem. No, Silicon Knights isn't coming back. There's not going to be another Too Human. That game flopped. Listen, if it's not a game that Microsoft can make, you know, sell 5-10 million copies of, or sell you a bunch of DLC in, you know, or like do updates in these things, like, oh, do this or do that, right? If it's not a game that they can do those types of things with, I don't think that there's much that they can do with it. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like, you know, if they can't get money out of it as a games as a service. Look, why did they cancel Scalebound, right? Because they had already invested like $70-80 million in a single player game, and there's no way to really monetize that game, right? Like, there's no multiplayer, so how are you going to get people to spend money on it? And they were never going to sell enough copies to make it worthwhile, so they canceled the game. So, you know, listen, unless a game can make Microsoft a ton of money, they're not interested in doing it, and they're just not going to do it. And that's just something that people are going to have to deal with. And, you know, it sucks, but it's just the way it is. You know, it really is just kind of the way it is. So, Rich says, crap, what made Microsoft be like this, everything on everything and all that? I hate it. Well, I think what happened was they bought Minecraft and saw that Minecraft could be played on everything, right? And it makes them a lot of money. In fact, when Xbox makes money every quarter or whatever, you got to attribute a large chunk of that to Minecraft on these other platforms: Switch, PlayStation, PC, mobile, iPhone, whatever, right? And so they probably thought, hey, well, people like playing this Minecraft game on, you know, everywhere. What if we put our games everywhere? Would they be as good? They have delusions of grandeur, right? 100 million people are going to play Crackdown 3. No, Phil, that's not going to happen. If you make a crummy game, nobody's going to want to play it, right? That's the part that they don't get. They should have really focused on winning back their hardcore audience, because they have not done that. And then they should have focused on not only winning back your audience, but making some classy games, right? Get some games nominated for Game of the Year. You know, get something worthwhile. They haven't been able to do that. And that's going to be a big problem going to the next generation. They have all these delusions of grandeur and absolutely zero credibility. Zero credibility. Nobody's going to go in there. Even if they come out with a new exclusive, people aren't going to go out and buy it and hope that it's good. Or, you know what I'm saying? That's why they're giving away Game Pass like they're giving it away, because they want people locked in for as long as they possibly can be. And that is ridiculous, in my opinion. That's absolutely ridiculous. We really need to see what they can do. That's why I'm taking everything they do with like a grain of salt. I'm going to step back, see what they announce, and then kind of take it from there, because I don't trust them to really do much of anything, to be honest with you. Really much of anything. I feel like Microsoft just continually doesn't care about giving high quality exclusives to people. They more care about, you know, how can we continue to monetize this? How can we continue to make money off of this after we release it? That's exactly what I believe is kind of going on. So, you know, they don't get it. They don't get it, you know? I just don't understand what their thinking is. Hey, crap, would you not want to play your Xbox games on the go? No. Like, I realize that some people might want to do that, but I work, you know, I'm an adult. I work, I come home, if I want a game on my TV on my big screen. You know, there's not really, my phone is kind of a business link, so I can't sit there and run down my battery plan. When would I have time? I drive home, and, you know, that's basically the end of it for me. I don't have a single game installed on my phone. I mean, I understand that some people might, but I have absolutely no need for that. I'm not going to carry around a controller or these adapters or anything like that. It's just not going to happen. Rich says, yeah, but here's the problem. All of Microsoft's games aren't like Minecraft, not even Sony's games, so their decisions were BS. I agree 100%. This is what I've been saying. They don't have a Minecraft or a, like Gears of War used to be a popular franchise, but nobody's even talking about it right now. Halo used to be a popular franchise, but again, not many people are even talking about it. So, like, that just goes to show you what's going on. Microsoft sell Microsoft Office subscription on most platforms. Exactly. They want to sell their games on most as well. After reading that article, it sounds like Xbox was about to be shut down due to all the negativity. Phil's only answer was to turn Xbox into a service. It's embarrassing. Yeah, it doesn't seem like an ideal situation. Nine Lives says Sony wants their games everywhere too. Nine Lives, I understand that this is the initial thought of a lot of Xbox fanatics, I'll call them, right? Well, Sony wants to do this too. This is not true, right? Sony will not put their exclusives day and date on another platform, their first-party exclusive. Now, you can point to Detroit or some of these smaller games, or maybe even Death Stranding, which isn't a first-party studio, by the way. That's not indicative of what they're going to do. Uncharted's, the Horizon Zero Dawns, the Killzones, the God of Wars, those games are never going to be day and date on any kind of services or anything like that. Despite what somebody might have said, if you go back to earlier this generation, they said there might not even be a PS5. It's just all nonsense. They realize that PlayStation makes them money. It makes them the most money, in fact. And so for when people bring up this PlayStation stuff, it's just a way to throw people off the fact that Microsoft are the only ones that are acting like exclusives don't matter. You don't think Sony realizes exclusives matter? Sony were the ones that just came out and said, hey, we're beefing up. We're doing big AAA exclusives and less indies next year, next gen. That's exactly it. Atrocity says, how about that THQ Destroy All Humans $400 collection bundle? Yeah, not happening. Not happening. Javier says, Power Gamer X, that's the truth. Crapgamer we always find something negative to base on. Again, Javier, where were you when I asked you to tell me what I was wrong about, bro? Like, you sit there and you try to say that I'm wrong or negative or whatever, and I agree that I'm one of the few with the cojones to get out there and tell the truth about Xbox when everybody else is just like, everything's great, everything's great, everything's great. And I'm the only one of the few out here that's sitting there telling people, well, what about this or what about this? Okay, like, you've got to be able to kind of take all these things into consideration. It's not just as cut and dry as what you're kind of believing it to be. So, yeah, I'm sorry if you think I'm nothing but negative. It's not exactly true. If there's good stuff like that Xbox One X Gears console, I think that's pretty cool. And I did a video saying it was cool. So, yeah. Earthworm Jim says, PlayStation is too hard to beat. They're clicking on all cylinders, man. Microsoft can do nothing. I agree 100%. It's going to be rough going for Microsoft. Power Gamer X says, see State of Decay 2 article on Polygon Crap. More than 5 million players need to shut your trap about that game, bro. No. Did you read it? There's not 5 million current players or concurrent players. There's been 5 million people to try the game, meaning people that game share. Like, I game share with my brother. We both have started that game. And then we don't go back, right? So that could be anything. Like, what are the sales of that game? They conveniently never talk about the sales of that game because 5 million people have tried it across 2 platforms, by the way, both PC and Xbox. And you want to use that as an example for the game being what, good? Are you serious? Even if that game had 5 million in sales, that's not good. Let alone probably less than 1 million in sales, I would say. Most people played it for 5 minutes on Xbox Game Pass, were like, hey, this sucks, and then stopped playing. That's basically what it comes down to. So, yeah, I'm going to continue talking crap about that game because it sucks, and the Metacritic score says it sucks, and the sales say it sucks, and Microsoft refuses to announce any kind of sales for it, just gives a bunch of nonsense about how many of this has been killed or how many of that have been done or whatever. It's just really not... not great. Let's see. What else do we got? Remember when Sony said they want people to play their games with or without consoles? Yeah, I remember that, dude, and that's fine. They've been doing streaming this entire generation, bro. Where you been at? But you know what they don't do? They don't shove it down our throats and act like it's, and act like the console doesn't matter. Because you know who does that? Microsoft. Microsoft, whenever they talk about what was E3 to you? You know what it was to me? It was their infomercial for PC Game Pass and streaming, right? Honestly, that's what it was. It was like an infomercial for PC Game Pass and streaming, and you can't tell me otherwise. Like, it was absolutely ridiculous how that went about, right? It just wasn't a very good E3. What happened to Minecraft Super Duper 4K Edition? They canceled it because it was on too many different things, right? So basically what happened is there was too many different versions that they needed, and it didn't end up working out right. So, yeah. TruthX says 5 million sales would be good crap. Yeah, too bad that game never sold 5 million and never will. Lone Star says, crap, do you worry about Xbox console players will be forced to play against PC more and more? Mikey Barra seems to be trying to normalize it. He 100% is normalizing it, or trying to. I see his tweets, and he's like, look, this professional gamer played on PC with a controller and came in third against these other professional gamers who didn't, and they use keyboard and mouse. See, it can be done. Like, so you use an extreme extreme example, right? Like, people win the Olympics. It doesn't mean that anybody can go in there and win the Olympics. And I'm not saying every PC gamer with a keyboard and mouse would be better than you with a controller. I'm just saying that, it doesn't make sense to normalize this or not give us the option. And I find it ridiculous, I find it ridiculous that we don't have the option in Gears of War 5. So, yeah. Ridiculous. On the bright note, how about that No Man's Sky update that's on the way? I agree. I think that No Man's Sky VR update looks absolutely incredible. I'm very excited by that. Hopefully they can. Hopefully it's good, man. I'm hoping that it's great. Taz says you can play your PS4 games on your PC and laptop. I can't play my PS4 games on a PC or laptop. Xbox fanboys, blood pressure skyrockets when crap does stream. Well, listen, when you have competent people talking about this stuff, that's why, I think I've managed to sort of get people to understand a little bit. Like, I still have some Xbox fans that watch, they understand what's going on, and they're like, hey, you're right, this sucks. So, I would absolutely, I think because when you have somebody confident and intelligent, and that, I have all these things kind of saved, and the quotes, and and it's just so easy to go over them and see how many times these companies, these people have lied to us and kind of scammed us. Yeah, you kind of, you understand where I'm coming from. PlayStation CEO said that consoles what? Dude, I think you're meaning he says that they're niche, and they are in the grand scheme of things, but there's still 300 million people that want a console, and so he's going to cater to that 300 million, okay? Rich says, hey, crap, there's still hope. You remember when OG Xbox was so little against PS2? The 360 standing toe-to-toe with PS3, maybe this will happen. No, they're not, because Phil won't let it, because they're too worried about other stuff. You need great content to be able to kind of do that. And I just don't see them getting this great content. Like, who's going to deliver this great content for them, right? Like, I don't see that happening. And that's going to be a big problem. Hopefully they can do something. I just don't see them being able to do it. You know what I mean? I don't see it happening. I wish, I hope that there's still competition. Xbox One X Gears 5 limited edition bundle. Yeah, cool bundle, but again, not a great look that they didn't announce it until like a month before the console releases, and there's absolutely been zero advertising for this game so far. Zero advertisements. Zero. So, yeah, that tells you how much faith they have in their console. Uncle Phil's multi-plat mom says PS3 caught up and beat 360 in sales. Yeah, I mean, good exclusives do that. If you have great exclusives, people are gonna support you and buy your platform. That's all there is to it. Lone Star says those 360 days are gone. Sucks to say, but the majority of those hardcore players left a long time ago. Agree 100%. Relzar says bundle is too late. I agree as well. Johnny Warren says flip-flopper. That's me. Flip-flop, flip-flop. Speak the truth, crap. If PS5 ends up at 14 TFLOPs and has permanent exclusives, and Scarlett has 15 TFLOPs but no exclusives, which one will you buy? I'm going to buy a PS5 day one. Are you excited about Bard's Tale Trilogy on Game Pass? No. Nobody is excited about Bard's Tale Trilogy. Hit the like button, y'all. Maybe we can get up to 170. I would appreciate that if we get up to 170. I'm going to take a few more questions before I end this. You know, it's really nice. Hey, Javier, man, I linked my stuff, man. It's all linked. It's all linked. Don't even worry about it, bruh. Don't worry about it. If you want somebody that's going to sugarcoat and lie to you and, you know, and tell you everything's cool and games are coming, but when you ask when, they don't have an idea, or, you know, just want to tell you, no, that's not true, that's not true. Like, give me a break, man. All my stuff is linked. You can check it out. Everything has a link. All my stories are linked. Even the rumors. I even wait for these rumors to hit the bigger sites so I can link them. So everything's there, dude. Nintendo part of Xbox Game Studios. Not even true. Randy, no, listen, I mean, I don't have a problem with anybody, but I don't think we're exactly like tight or buddy-buddy or anything like that, and I don't think they're dying to have me on the show because I pretty much go exactly against what they're all trying to say, you know, and I think that's something that they probably aren't gonna be able to. Nine Lives says games are coming. Nine Lives, when? Who's gonna deliver these games? When are we gonna see these games? When are they gonna announce some of these games? We've already been 4.5 years without a new AAA IP announcement. When do you first see us actually getting an announcement, and when do you see us actually getting a game to release? And why didn't Microsoft do something in the interim to supply us with some content, right? That's what I'm talking about. Did I read the Matt Booty interview on the future of Outer Worlds? Yeah, he sounded like a politician because he doesn't specifically say the second game. I believe the second game is still under contract with 2K. So maybe the third game could possibly be exclusive, but you know, it just kind of is what it is. Wait till E3. Yeah, dude, I am tired of waiting until E3. Nine Lives says 2020. Phil said he held stuff back. Nine Lives, go look back, will you, at E3 2018 interviews afterwards where Phil Spencer said he held stuff back. What did he hold back? Then go look at Xbox XO 2018, where Phil said he held stuff back. What did he hold back? What did he hold back, dude? Like, nothing. He's probably talking about some indie game or something, man. There are 0 AAA games that he has that are ready or can be shown off. 0. There's absolutely nothing. I can tell you this with 100% certainty. I have developer friends, and I don't care who you ask. You can ask Dealer, you can ask Jez Gordon, you can ask Randall Thor. They'll tell you that Crapgamer gets details. He gets stuff from developer friends. Like, I had the PlayStation Neo documents. I had the PlayStation Neo presentation. I had the Xbox Scorpio documents. I sent these things to these people, right, so they could have them too. And the one thing is, when I hear about games, right, like we've all heard about Guerrilla Games making 2 games, Horizon Zero Dawn leaks, maybe a new Uncharted. There's a strong rumor that there's a secret San Diego studio with ex-Naughty Dog employees working on a new Uncharted. So we hear about these games leaking for PlayStation 5, okay? New IP from Naughty Dog, a steampunk game leaking. You know why they leak? Because they're being worked on, and that stuff gets out. Why hasn't anything but Fable leaked on Xbox's side? Because that's the only thing that they're working on that we don't know about per se, right? Even Bleeding Edge leaked, right? Like, those are just the facts. Where there's no smoke, there's no fire. They might not even have concepts ready yet. So they can sit there and go, oh, well, this studio literally has this great idea, but you're still 4 to 5 years away from seeing it. That's the difference. That's the difference. Yeah, there's going to be an Xbox Nation tomorrow. Real Dragon says, I think Microsoft, aka Xbox, wants everyone to join together as one thing, which is Xbox Game Studios, including Nintendo, Sony, and other developers. The problem is, you don't need multiple platforms for that to happen, right? You would only need one, and that's no competition, and that's not good. So, Rich says, hey, Crap, do you think Xbox Scarlett being more powerful than PS5 at the same price will make people get Scarlett? No, because 4K 60 is 4K 60, and I think both these consoles are going to do that. So I think we're good there. I think it's just going to come down to, I think it's just going to come down to the games again. Nine Lives says stuff will start to leak as we get closer to E3 2020. No. There's not. Microsoft doesn't have anything to show, dude. In your opinion, dude, just in your opinion, and I asked this, like, give me your opinion. What studio do you think is even remotely ready to launch something on Xbox? What that they have? What studio is even remotely ready to launch something? Randy Pack says, crap, if you were head of Xbox, what would you do? And how would you save Xbox and make it thrive? I've mentioned this a couple times. I would, first of all, pull off Halo, Gears, and Forza off of PC completely. I would make those Xbox exclusives. I would then make specific PC versions of these games that are online only, right? Like a multiplayer, Halo Online, Gears Online, Forza Online, where these games would be online and just specifically no crossplay between the two platforms or anything like that. Give them their own specific games. PC would get stuff like Age of Empires. Yeah, sure, you want Gears Tactics on that, that's fine. But like the stuff would be exclusive to Xbox console, stuff would be exclusive to PC. You want to put stuff on mobile? Sure, let's make Master Chief run on mobile, a little touchscreen game or whatever. Or let's do Halo Battle Royale mobile or something like that, right? Like that's what I would do. I would then have people announce some games. I don't care if they're 3 years out. Give some people some hope. Announce some games. Talk about how you love your console fans and you're invested in your console fans, and and then I would take a loss on the hardware next generation. So if you're going to sell Scarlett for $500, sell it for $400 instead. Why is the Xbox One X still $500 retail? Like that thing should be $325 right now, or $329 or something. It should be much less. Let's see. Johnny Warren says, do you believe all those studios are doing nothing? No, Johnny, listen. I can go down the list of studios and tell you what they're doing and when to expect them, okay? In Exile is doing Wasteland 3, Bard's Tale 4, and a VR game. Now, these games aren't coming out till next year. Well, Bard's Tale 4 is coming out this year. So they're not even going to start making anything until next year. So when are they going to come out with something? Compulsion Games. They're finishing up DLC for We Happy Few. Guess what? They haven't even started anything new yet. So let's say they do start this year. You're looking at, 3 to 4 years before they come out with something? That's 2023. Okay? Obsidian. They're working on Outer Worlds. It releases this year. Then they'll start something else. So what? Even if the sequel is exclusive, 4 years from now, so 2023. Okay. The Initiative, they're still staffing up. When are we going to see something from them? They're supposedly making a big AAA game. That takes 4 to 5 years. So again, 2023, 2024. Fable, again, they're further behind than what we thought. They have a 60-man studio that's trying to staff up to 200. They just moved into this new studio in April of this year. 2022, 2023, maybe. So you're still looking at 4 years out. In the interim, we're getting more Halo, Gears, and Forza, and that's it. Okay? Like, I hate to burst your bubble. I don't think they're not working on stuff. Double Fine. They're working on a game called Rad and Psychonauts 2. They're coming out next year. Then they'll start other stuff. But those two games are multi-platform. So, yeah, these companies are working on stuff. But guess what? They're not working on exclusives per se. And I'm sorry to have to burst your bubble. It does suck. But it's just the truth. Wordman says Obsidian is already working on another game. With what manpower, Wordman? Like, you don't understand. I don't think you're really familiar with how this kind of stuff works, right? So Obsidian might be, quote-unquote, working on another game. 98% of that workforce of that team is working on Outer Worlds right now. So you might have 5 people outlining a game, quote-unquote, working on another game, but you're still 4 to 5 years away from seeing anything. 9 Live says, crap, early 2021 Obsidian and Ninja Theory will drop something. So a AA game from Ninja Theory, because they're working on a AA game, and you think Obsidian just is going to pull something out of their butt and it's going to be AAA when they've already said 98% of their staff is working on Outer Worlds? Like, when is that going to happen? I don't have any information on the PS5 or Scarlett, like, personally yet. I am waiting. Once the roadmaps come out, then I'll have a good chance of that. And then at that time, I'll decide if I'm going to... Because I can't show that stuff in video form, but what I can do is kind of give it to somebody like Jez or maybe Brad Sams, and they can post it on the site, and then I can link back to it. That's what I did with the Xbox Scorpio stuff. Like, all that stuff that Jez had for Windows Central, I gave that to him, and then he was able to make stories about it, and then I'm able to link it and do videos about it, right? So that's kind of how that'll work as well. He says, I believe Rare will drop something too. Phil said he played the game. Yeah, another multiplayer game, dude. Multiplayer only game as a service. Like, that, to me, that's not really, like, okay, great. You know, like, tell me when we're going to get something with a great in-depth single player as well. So again, man, you're like, your thing is like wishing and wanting. And Obsidian, I hate to break it to you, man, Obsidian is so far away from making a drop in a game. It's crazy. You could be on to something with Ninja Theory 2021, 2022, but again, is it just going to be another AA game? Is it going to be Hellblade 2? Like, is that really going to impress people? Like, I'm sorry, that's not really something that most of us really care about. We want big exclusive games, and they fail to deliver these big exclusive games. Me and him, you know, we went at it a little bit yesterday. We both apologized. It kind of is what it is. You know, we both get into it. Like I said, I am at the point where I'm not taking crap from people anymore, especially on social media. So, you know, that just kind of is what it is. And at the end of the day, I'll continue to, you know, me and him are okay. And if I get something and I send it to him, I mean, that's cool. You know, I usually don't expect any kind of... I told him not even to mention who he got it from last time. So it's just one of those things where hopefully, you know, it's just important to kind of get some of these leaks out there to get people excited. You know, hopefully. Many of these studios will be on a 2 to 3 year cycle. Even the studios that split into two. How are they going to be on a 2 to 3 year cycle for a new AAA IP, dude? That doesn't make sense. I've been watching your video since around January 2016. How much you change the old crap would slap the new crap? Probably. Phil said the reason he bought Obsidian is because he saw another game they were working on. He said the same thing about In Exile and Ninja Theory, and Ninja Theory's game was Bleeding Edge, bro. Yeah. Crap, you think Scalebound will be revived for Scarlett? Same game but 4K 60? Nope. That game is dead. That game will never be heard from again. They dropped the ownership of the or the name or whatever as well. They still own the IP, but not the name anymore. So yeah, I don't expect anything like that. Xbox Nation is tomorrow night. I'll answer two more and then I'm out of here, y'all. Please hit the like button. Maybe, just maybe, we can get to 200 likes. That would be awesome. I would appreciate that. Rumor Scarlett having cloud tech directly built into the hardware, while Sony went with raw power to achieve its result. Scarlett uses unique techniques while Sony has more power. Could be right. I don't know, man. It really just depends on how they want to work things out. Hopefully things do kind of work out. I'm excited to see what happens. Platinum Games have got exclusives out for Sony and Nintendo, but couldn't for Microsoft. Yeah, I mean, look, there's been lots of rumors around that. No real... 9 Lives games are coming. Yes, when though, dude? When? When's Phil gonna announce these games, man? Are they gonna be AAA, new AAA exclusives? Like, that's what people want, man. Like, it's easy to say games are coming, and then you show off something like Battletoads. Like, that's not what people have in mind. I understand, like, somebody might want to play that, but that's not something that people have in mind when, you know, when they're saying, hey, we want some games on our Xbox, man. They want something big and AAA and something new and beefy, man. That's what they want. So yeah, Microsoft doesn't get it. They completely don't understand it. The last two leaks point to over 12 TFLOP for Xbox, but 10 to 12 core CPU. Yeah, you know, I'm not saying that. Crazy Old School says don't see Alan Wake 2 coming. Listen, Crazy Old School, do not put it past Sony to bring up Remedy up on the stage next year and say Alan Wake 2 exclusive to PlayStation. Do not count that out. I can almost guarantee you that we might see something like that. Almost. Battletoads on Switch, yeah. Do you think Phil knows what a good game is? Phil's games are Voodoo Vince and Phantom Dust and Crackdown. So no, I don't think he does. Sorry, he doesn't. He doesn't know any. Peter Moore was the man. Initiative's game is quadruple A, whatever that means. Yeah, whatever that means. I'm sure it's gonna be great. Not really. Bloodborne 2. Yeah, we could see a Bloodborne 2 from Sony as well. Listen, I'm more excited. Yeah, Xbox catfish you this gen completely. I've never heard it like that, but they did. Gamescom. Don't expect anything from Gamescom, man. We're not going to get anything from Microsoft. They're not going to announce anything. There's no reason to get excited for anything Microsoft does with these events. No reason whatsoever. No reason. So, yep. One more question, and then I'm out of here. Please hit the like button. Would love to get to 200. Yeah, Bloodborne is owned by Sony. That's true. Phil Spencer's a casual gamer at best. Yeah, he does. Do I think Phil knows what a good game is? No. I answered that again. No, he doesn't. He absolutely does not. You know, he published Crackdown 3. That's basically kind of it. Yep. He doesn't have a clue, unfortunately. So anyway, with that being said, I really do appreciate you guys. It's been awesome. Please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you all have a fantastic day. And I will be back tomorrow night for Xbox Nation. Rack 'em up. Peace out. Happy game.